My name is Jonathan Jones. It's my privilege and pleasure to be your host and moderator for this afternoon. Today is February the 2nd, 2025. And as you can see from the introductory slide, this month, February, has been declared American Heart Month. It didn't say American Heart Disease Awareness Month. I was a little surprised about that. It just said American Heart Month. So, not sure what the deal is on that one, but that's okay. We're going to focus in on the heart, and whichever angle Dr. Prasad chooses to take us down, whatever path he decides to direct our attention down, know that something can be done to improve the health of the heart. We do have one or two testimonials we want to share, and if any of you are on here right now and have had some good results, say with some of Dr. Prasad's formulas, and your cardiologist, and notice I'm saying your cardiologist, your doctor has actually made a statement to you, documented or otherwise, about your heart health, any observations, any improvements, things like that. We want to hear it, because we do have some that again we want to share. But if you're here and you've had some good results, no matter how small, you have no idea how much of an impact that can have on someone who's dealing with some particular coronary issue or otherwise. Okay, so we look forward to hearing from you on anything you'd like to share with that. So let me just share this with you. I got a few introductory slides before we bring Dr. Prasad up. I've got a few introductory slides to just sort of lay the foundation for our discussion. So let me just share those with you, and we'll blast through that real quick, and then get on with hearing from Dr. Prasad. So as I mentioned, this is American Heart Month. That's the month of February. You should know that when we're having discussions like this, that the FDA has not evaluated these statements. No one has given me a script as to what to say. The slides that I present, this is just as a result of my own research and my team that put together information we've taken from Dr. Prasad's lectures, information from public records, information from the CDC, and many of the resources, the references are actually listed right within the slide. So, but either way, we have not presented this information to the FDA. Testimonials that you may hear are anecdotal. Results are atypical. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. So neither the Healthcare Support Association of America, which is a nonprofit organization, a 501c registered 501c3 nonprofit organization, just determined to get information out about healthcare matters. Engage Global, which Dr. Prasad is the chief science officer for, and none of the hosts or co-hosts or guests, anyone authorized to be representatives of these companies, are making any claims that any supplements that are recommended will treat or cure any disease state. So this presentation is for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for a visit to your doctor. We strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. And when we talk to Dr. Prasad, even when we ask him questions, that he gives us answers to those questions. Remember, Dr. Prasad is a scientist. So his responses are of a scientific nature. So please do not misconstrue that to be as his giving medical advice. He's presenting science as he knows it. So a little bit about this matter of heart disease. We're in Heart Awareness Month, but we can't have a discussion about heart awareness without taking note of the fact that heart disease is the number one most prevalent disease in the United States. It is the leading cause of death. It remains number one, and that means that it's accounted for 1 in every 5 deaths. 1 out of every 5 deaths is associated with the heart. My personal opinion is it could actually be a little more than that, depending on how they quantify death, and some of the sources that sometimes become a little bit vague and underreported, in my personal opinion. The annual mortality, according to research we dug up, was in 2022, over 700,000 Americans died from heart disease. That meant that 1 death every 33 seconds. So if you look at what time it is now, it's 11 minutes after 5. So we logged in here at about 5 minutes to 5. So that's been 15 minutes. Now, if somebody did the math for us, and any of you that are mathematicians, in 15 minutes, how many how many how many people would have died during that time period that we've been on this in our presentation right now? If one person dies every 33 seconds, how many have died? So someone put that in the chat for us. But that's the rate of death from heart disease to this day. In Framingham, Massachusetts, the longest running heart disease study is still currently running. You understand that? And it started back in the early 1900s. So it's been more than 100 years that this Framingham study has been in play. And still to this day, one person is dying every 33 seconds from heart disease. And that for me is that's just chilling. And I can't wait for Dr. Prasad to share some of the information that he has on this subject. Key risk factors for cardiovascular disease. Do you see that? 47% of US adults have high blood pressure. That's a major risk factor for heart disease and for stroke. 47%. So we have 100 connections on this presentation right now, more than 100 connections. That means about 50 people right now that's on this meeting have high blood pressure. If we had asked for a show of hands, and if Horace did the count, we would see 50% of the hands up right now of people who are taking some form of high blood pressure medicine or dealing with that issue. 47% of all US adults have heart disease. That's just chilling. Obesity, the number 2 risk factor. More than 72% of US adults are overweight or obese, and that increases the risk of cardiovascular disease. Do we hear that? 72%. There's 330 million people in the United States. 3/4 of those, meaning more than 200 million people, are obese. 200 million. And obesity, of course, leads right into heart disease. But let's see if Dr. Prasad can help us make a connection there, because he has formulated a new product that I believe is going to make a huge difference in this area. It's going to make a serious dent in this regard. So we look forward to hearing some information about Dr. Prasad's GLP-1 Boost product. There are some disparities, and I'm very sad to see that there are gender disparities when it comes to heart health. The first bullet point, there was a recent survey done that showed that 33% of American women are behind on key medical appointments, anxiety being the primary reason. This delay in healthcare can lead to unaddressed heart health issues. Now, that was reported by the New York Post. And so we can kind of take that with a grain of salt or a pound of salt, depending on how confident you are in something published in the New York Post. But, and I personally would have thought that it would have been more men who were hesitant about, keeping an appointment, a medical appointment, a key medical appointment, than women. I would have been, so it's kind of surprised me to even see that. And then there's a generational impact. In fact, this past weekend, I was at a wedding just yesterday and met a woman who is now working in New York. She's some sort of a cardiologist. She's not a doctor, but she does the imaging or the research or the lab work or something for heart disease. And I said to her, "Have you noticed anything in recent years about heart disease?" She says, "Yeah, it's incredibly out of control, number one." And she said, and the people with heart disease are younger than I've ever seen in my life. I said, do you think there's any reason for that? She says, well, some of us have opinions about it, but it's not popular to relate what our opinions are. So, but anyway, she mentioned, I said, now how young? When you say young, how young are you talking about? She said, I'm talking between 20 and in their late 20s, in their 30s, young people with heart disease. So the issues is becoming a younger and younger problem. So millennials, Gen Zs are reporting as being behind on their regular checkups. And if you looked at any recent reports, many doctors are leaving the profession because they're finding it more and more of a challenge. So the challenge in finding a primary healthcare physician is also becoming more and more of a problem. And that also is causing people to delay. People are scared when it comes to side effects. There's all kinds of reasons why people are hesitant when it comes to keeping up with their health more than before. This is putting a financial burden on the economy. Now, that means, as you can see right here, we're talking about this statistic here goes back to 2019 and 2020. This is even before the explosion, because the CDC says there's been a 20% increase in all-cause mortality. Was it 20%? Hold on. Let me fact check that. I think the last figure that I saw was closer, was like around 12%. But whatever the case, whichever one it is, there has been a marked increase in all-cause mortality since that statistic right there, since 2020, and a marked increase in all-cause mortality. So that means for all the reasons why people are dying in the United States, for all the reasons that people die in the United States, the reasons, all of them, have gone up, including heart disease. In fact, heart disease, if you look at the chart, heart disease has gone up a little bit further than the others. Cancer now is coming right behind it. Cancer is hard hot on its heels, but it is true. All-cause mortality is up. Preventative measures, regular checkups, management of risk factors, high blood pressure, obesity. That's crucial to reducing both the health and economic burden. So, and it's so interesting that also would be included in this presentation, right? So the regular checkups and management of the risk factors, high blood pressure and obesity. Management of the risk factors, high blood pressure and obesity, crucial in reducing both health and economic burdens. And I'm personally just here to tell you that I know that Dr. Prasad's formulas can have a dramatic impact, a huge impact on those two very things. So we're looking forward to hearing that. Before we transition, though, into Dr. Prasad and why Dr. Prasad's formula should be taken note of, just be aware that these three lines represent the most common treatment approaches currently for heart disease. So lifestyle modifications, make whatever adjustments you can. And Dr. Prasad has said this many times in many of the presentations that he's even sent directly to us. He has promoted and encouraged making lifestyle adjustments. And he always says, kind of laughingly, he's probably going to say it today, we tell people to change their lifestyle, but they don't do it. He said they don't listen. He says people have known for a long time that they need to walk and get regular exercise or stop smoking and do those kinds of things, but they still don't do it. Medications, they target statins. Statins is one of the main things. In fact, that Framingham study, the main cardiologist working on the Framingham study out of in Massachusetts, that he was the first one to find out that statins had the ability to lower cholesterol. I forget what's that man's name. But anyway, they looked inside the coronary arteries and they saw what he said was that the immune system was part of the disease, because as the immune system was coming in, trying to deal with these micro tears within the inner linings of the coronary arteries, they became part of the disease, helping to build up that plaque. So reducing the inflammation there was important, and they used statins to lower the cholesterol. So it had that effect. But Dr. Prasad's formulas have an interesting impact on those kinds of things. So can't wait to hear what he has to say about that. And then, of course, medical procedures. So stents and other kinds of things. Those are the common ways of dealing with heart disease. So now you got all the current dark side of things. This is where we introduce Dr. Prasad. His formulas, understand this, folks, scientifically developed. This man was the world's first radiation biology PhD. His research, backed by decades of research and clinical testing, millions of dollars have gone into the research and the formulas that Dr. Prasad has put together. His formulas are non-toxic, they're safe, and they're complementary to medical treatments. You understand that? That means that even if a person does decide to continue with whatever they're doing, whatever mode they're doing, whatever you're doing, whatever your doctor said. In fact, Dr. Prasad says he does not want anyone to just take his formulas instead of what your doctors tell you to do. But he assures us that there's no contraindications. And he had to prove that to Congress when he first put together the formula, military micronutrient formula. So our recommendation when it comes to this American Heart Month, the month of February, take control of your heart health. You've got a chance. You've got the power now. It's within your grasp to take charge of your heart health. Don't let heart health issues dictate your life. You're going to learn more about Dr. Prasad's formulas right now and the benefits. And as always, we recommend that you speak to your a medical professional that you trust when making decisions about your health and well-being. But I guarantee you that the information that you're hearing today has been carefully researched and is accurate. Dr. Prasad, this is the man behind the research and the science. Just look at his resume. Just look at it. To me, one of the most important things is here is that he was invited to be a member of the Nobel Peace Prize nominating committee of candidates of medicine. He spent 30 years as a professor at University of Colorado School of Medicine. He's been the author of some 33 books. He's been published more than 250 times in peer review publications. And his references, his publications, his research has been referenced more than 450 times in PubMed, the official library of medical documents. And so Dr. Prasad's been around the block a few times. So it is my pleasure and my privilege to introduce into our discussion now Dr. Prasad. We want to welcome Dr. Prasad to our discussion, and we're anxiously looking forward to whatever you'd like to share with us, Dr. Prasad, with regard to heart health. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you, Jonathan. I always enjoy every Sunday to be with you and engage family. And anything I can do today about heart, I will be glad to do so.
Well, and you can go down any path that you like with this, because your book is extensive. Your research on the heart is extensive. MMF has was granted a patent that included heart health. And you've just done all kinds of amazing things with this. So tell us, why would micronutrients, first of all, be of benefit to a heart?
Yeah. So really, first, there are two issues for heart health. One is how to prevent it, and second is how to improve the current therapy that we are getting for heart disease. So let us see first one, how to prevent it. To know that, you have to know what causes the disease, what are involved. Well, it has been known, like Jonathan was mentioning, obesity, but really the poor diet, poor lifestyle, like a smoking, not doing physical activity, and exposure to environmental toxin. These three things are extremely important, which contributes to the heart risk or heart disease eventually. So the question is, so what you do? Well, then you say, well, why don't you start eating a healthy diet and healthy lifestyle and don't get exposed to? But human behavior as such, they don't follow the diet and lifestyle guideline. And many aspects of environment is beyond our control. This requires legislation, federal government, state government, and so on. So we can't. So this recommendation of diet has been the good diet and good lifestyle has been forever, for decades.
Yep.
It has no impact in prevention of any kind of disease, including heart disease. And the reason I told you, that's one reason that people don't follow it. Second reason is that may not be sufficient to increase the damage, to increase the other risk factor, internal risk factor that is causing the increased risk of the heart disease. And so what are those? So all these external factors, we call it external stressor, diet, poor lifestyle, and excessive exposure to environmental agent, they all produce one thing: excessive amount of free radicals
Mm.
that generate, and enough that your own defense system cannot handle, we call oxidative stress. And when that oxidative stress happens, they induces all kind of cellular abnormality, including the chronic inflammations and many aspects of heart disease. And so the question is, then how do you reduce it? For prevention point of view, well, try to do a diet and other thing, follow as much as you can. But at the same time, you must reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. That's one factor. Second factor that contributes to heart disease is the intestinal dysbiosis. We call them, it refers to when you grow older and when you have free radical and everything is getting older, then the number of harmful bacteria increases and number of beneficial bacteria in your gut decreases. We call it intestinal dysbiosis. And intestinal dysbiosis contributes to the poor quality of life and almost all human diseases, including heart disease. So, so you have to control that. How do you control that? The increased oxidative stress you can control by micronutrient that we have, say EMF, macro daily EMF, we can reduce oxidative and inflammation. To reverse the effect of intestinal dysbiosis, we also have probiotics with prebiotics, and that will dramatically improve it. Third is the loss of collagen peptide also contributes to heart disease because the collagen is so important in your body that 30% of total body protein is collagen. That means it is present in every organ in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the major functions of collagen is to maintain the structural integrity of all your organs.
Including the heart.
Skin you can see, heart, brain you can see it, but it is happening there too. And when that happens, then when, for example, certain part of the heart will show shrinkage, and then the function is not, they're pumping not blood as much nicely as they would. And so it is important. So how do you restore that? Well, then we have a collagen peptides. We can restore the collagen and therefore improve the heart function.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth one is omega-3. Omega-3 has two components, DHA and EPA. DHA is a big name. You can look to the original document that we have produced.
Right.
But DHA is very important for brain function, while EPA is very important for heart function. Very important, reducing the risk of heart disease. And therefore, then how do you, and what happens to omega-3, if you grow older, you are growing older, you have increased oxidative stress, and under that environment, omega-3 get oxidized. And when omega-3 get oxidized by free radical damage, it becomes dysfunctional. It cannot function adequately. So how you replace the damaged omega-3? By supplementing with omega-3 fatty acids. And so these are very important components. And so if you take a core 4 like we have,
Mm-hmm.
that is the basis for improving your heart health, your general health, but heart health especially. And so, then for example, we had a actually clinical study called Maverick trial when I was in Denver.
Right.
And I remember in collaboration with Dr. Jeffrey Boone, and who was a cardiologist and for the NFL Bronco player and managed the cardiac issue for them. And so, and the trial was for 1 year. And at that time, we were giving just micro daily alone, original micro daily formulation alone. And it ran, and they were measuring the lipid profile that you see, cholesterol, high cholesterol, HDL, LDL, and total cholesterol. He was measuring this. Also, he was measuring the thickness of carotid artery. The
Mm-hmm.
carotid artery is the one who supply blood to your brain from your heart. And if that gets a lot of uh, clogged, then you can have a brain disease. And so he found. So these are the criteria he was measuring it. And at the end of year, he did a 6 month and then 1 year. But at the end of 1 year, he found that those group who were not taking the micronutrient had a high level of cholesterol and increased level of a thickening of the carotid artery. But those who were taking the micro daily alone, they produce the lipid profile as good as Lipitor. And he has started calling that micro daily is a poor man's Lipitor. He does it. This is very
Wow.
important. And
Wow.
yeah, this was among the firefighters of Denver, young fellow, 30 to 40 years of age. And as you know, they are very at high risk of developing heart disease.
Mm-hmm.
They are under so stressful environment all the time. And stress is another thing that increases the risk of all diseases, including heart.
Right.
And I think this trial, but this has additional benefit, which Lipitor cannot do it, namely it reduces the plaque formation in the carotid artery. So it was all clear as before. And those who were not taking the micro daily, you can see the increased level of plaque formation. So this was very, very exciting study. And so I feel that if you take core four, and plus we recently developed the heart boost formula, which is one of the main function of the heart boost formula was, again, further increasing oxidative stress and inflammation, but also improve the flow of the blood so that your heart can remain, the blood vessel of the heart can remain dilated, and so that blood flow can go to all your organs very nicely, including in the heart. So this increases the circulation, which was very important for heart function. And so really it is possible to prevent it. And the treatment right now, it does not address the causes. The current treatment of any disease is based on this taking care of the symptoms,
Right.
not the causes. So, but it is important, if you have already a disease, it is important to take care of the symptom. But also you add up to this, our proposal, core 4 plus our heart formula in that it will also add up, prevent the causes
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
the heart disease. And so this is kind of unique opportunity
That's
that,
beautiful.
yeah. So
That's
it
beautiful.
best of the both world.
And
Yeah.
Dr. Prasad,
Mhm.
we have seen that this is not just speculation. And in your scientific jargon, you refer to what you say here as hypothesis, but we
Mhm.
have seen it through observation that it's a reality.
I like
So,
to see it.
do you mind if we share maybe one or
I
two
love to see it.
testimonials?
I've never seen it before.
Yeah, some of these you may have seen, but we've got about 120 connections on this
Huh.
presentation right now and counting. No, almost 130. And we've got an audience on YouTube as well. Many
Hmm.
of them are invited guests.
Hmm.
So we're going to talk a little bit about what you've done with GLP-1 Boost in a minute. But Jeff is going to step in, and he's got a couple of our testimonials that I've asked him to share with us, so that folks who are here now will understand that you're not just blowing smoke. Put it that way. I like for people to know that there's actually some bark behind this. There's some bite behind this bark. There's some reality. So I'm bringing up the big barker now, the big dog, Jeff. So go ahead, Jeff. Give us some testimonials on this. Help us to see, Jeff, that brother, that our good friend here is for real. That Dr. Prasad's statements are solid.
Absolutely. Now, this one, it goes back several years, and I haven't shown it much, but it is Pam, who is talking about her daughter and saying some aortic root. Anyway, it goes into some pretty substantial detail as to what's going on in her heart. And so let's play this for just validation of to what you and Dr. Prasad's conversation has been today about what can the right mixture of micronutrients, multiple micronutrients, the omegas, the probiotics. I mean, all of these things could benefit. But let's listen to Pam as she talks about what's going on with her daughter. Here we go.
Excellent.
For about a year now, I'm off my high blood pressure medicine, and I'm no longer pre-diabetic. I've been pre-diabetic for 10 years, and I'm no longer on any kind of medicine for that. Some of you may know my daughter. She's 11 years old. She's autistic. She's low verbal. Quick story. She's doing fabulous, by the way. She drives nurses right now, but she has Marfan syndrome. Marfan syndrome causes your aortic valve to expand. When that expands, you die because of growth spurts, especially in children. So in 2015, we had an echocardiogram done to see a baseline of where it was. They told us the results came back fine. Everything was normal. We go back 9 months later, the doctor's comparing the results. He comes into the room, he shakes my hand and he says, Pam, I am so sorry we misdiagnosed your daughter. They did not input her vital signs correctly when they did the echocardiogram. So the results, which had stretching of her aortic root, were for a woman 25 to 30 years old, not for a 10-year-old. So my daughter was living on borrowed time and I didn't even know it. The only difference that I had done with her was starting the microdaily in June of that year. The doctor showed me the results and you could see where on the aortic valve, there was scar tissue, meaning that it had healed itself. Wow. And that was the only thing, other than by grace of God, that she was with us. So we started on some medicine and supposedly was going to stop the aortic root from stretching. But it's just a miracle what it does from the inside out. You were talking about how great you felt. I was feeling horrible because I was on all this medicine that I did not need to be on. And now that I'm off of it, I'm feeling pretty fantastic. I'm 50 years old and I've got more energy than I ever had. The results I'm seeing also with Keela, and since she's been on for a long time, her speech, although it's not getting better, is becoming clearer. She has partial chromosome deletion. That affects a lot of her speech, but it's just getting better. Her daily life is getting better. At the end of the day, she's still autistic. She'll still always be autistic. But what the MMF does for her is changed her quality of life. It's helping with the Marfan syndrome because she's no longer waking up in the morning moaning because she's in such pain. She's waking up happy. In fact, she woke up this morning singing a song. And I was like, yeah, this is a way to start your day. But overall, MMF has just been fantastic and what it's done for me and my daughter. We cannot be happier. And I'm really looking forward to starting her on the protein shakes. It's actually pretty good. She might just go ahead and take it. But it's just been a really great day. So thank you.
So you can see this was several years ago, but I thought how fitting for this mother to talk about her daughter, 10 years old, and the differences she is noticing there in her own body. You know, even having the challenges of autism and the other aspects. So we've got mother-daughter great responses in their bodies in both situations. Now, there at the end, she did say MMF. For those that are not familiar with how this originally started out, it was known as military micronutrient formulation. She did say microdaily in the beginning, but as her story went on, she referred to the old name just for clarification. But what a fantastic story! So I'm grateful that I was able to contribute that to today's a special meeting about hearts. So
Jeff, that was absolutely powerful. Can you just give us a brief summary of that one that Jackie Gray also told? We don't need to play it, but tell us what you recall about that Jackie Gray one also.
Well, it's just she just leaned into the opportunity. She and her husband both started doing a bunch of research, and she just says, "Well, why don't I take this along with what the doctors are recommending?" And over a period of time, her body responded, and it responded very favorably to this condition. The condition that she suffered from, what was in the now let's see,
Mitral valve.
Yes, which is a congestive heart type concern.
Yeah.
And she says that both she and her sister had this type of a result. And what really hit me is that she says, I took the microdaily, my sister didn't, and my sister's now dead. And it's like, wow, okay, pretty straightforward.
Yep, very good. Thank you. Thank you very much for relating it. And maybe on a future meeting, we'll go ahead and share that. Again, for the folks who are here for the first time, we'll share it because some have heard that one before as well. But that's powerful, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing it.
Absolutely.
Now, let me just ask you something before you leave. Dr. Prasad, can you tell us a little bit about GLP-1 Boost? And Jeff, you want to come back in and chime in on that?
I will. I'll just put the picture up here while Dr. Prasad's talking about it.
Yeah.
Because, and the reason I want to bring slide to this now, Dr. Prasad, is because you just told us what daily micronutrients, probiotic boost, the whole core 4 will benefit the heart, but obesity was the number 2 risk factor. Oh, and your heart boost also, again, because of the blood pressure thing.
Mm-hmm.
But obesity was the number 2 risk factor. Please tell us how you are setting out to make a difference.
Yeah, because it has been known the kind of formulation we have that's very unique in three ways. One is it produces increased production of GLP-1. And it also, then it is, GLP-1 is produced mostly from the skin, from the intestine, small intestine. But the receptor for GLP-1 is present in almost all organs, including brain, heart, kidney, and provides a protection because it also acts as a different mechanism of oxidative stress and inflammation. And so this is very important. So our product that we develop, GLP Boost, they will produce GLP Boost, GLP amount. But another thing is that it will also produce what is called GIP, because some of the toxicity reported from the study of Ozempic, which is also stimulates the production of GLP-1, but it has toxicities, many types of toxicity. But GIP that our product will produce prevents the toxicity of GLP-1 Boost. And so that's another uniqueness. Third thing is that it also, we have a component, we have herbs which can prevent the formation of new fat and enhance the removal of old fat. So no other product can do it. And GLP does, to a certain extent, it does because it increases glucose metabolism and it reduces hunger. So don't eat it. But in this scenario that we herbs that they also prevent the formation of new fat, and as well as prevent the enhanced excretion or removal of old fat from your belly. And so it has so the combination of all these things has a unique function of our GLP boost that no other product have it. And it also will improve the heart function, I'm telling you. Yeah, here is the formula. I mean, as I said, it is the receptor for GLP-1 and is in every organ. And so if you stimulate the production, and then that is very important that in every organ you will have increased production of a GLP-1, and they have performed their own function, useful function for each organ in terms of protection.
Wow.
And
So
this is important. This is very important. Another thing is very important. This is not related to GLP boost, but it is related to the what do you call omega probiotics with prebiotics.
mhm.
So the question was that does probiotics with prebiotics stimulate the production of GLP-1 also? They said promotes it, but when I looked at detailed study, turned out that no, it has nothing to do with the production of GLP-1. However, the probiotics and will enhance the secretion of GLP-1 from the cell, not production. But once you produce it, they have to be secreted out. So enhance the rate of secretion. So your body has available more GLP-1 than without it. So that's another very important thing.
Whoa, Dr. Prasad, hold on, slow down. Did you just say that it turns out that there's an additional benefit of the probiotic daily?
That's correct.
Improving and enhancing
the secretion, not the production,
but the secretion of the GLP-1.
Right. And it does so by fermenting when the probiotics ferment the fiber and produce a short chain fatty acid like butyric acid. Butyric acid is the one who does it.
Oh, and that's a known cancer fighter too, right?
Yeah, it has multiple function, yeah. But it is very important, and the way it does it increases the accumulation of calcium within the cell. And when you have accumulated calcium, they force the GLP to try to get out from the cell. And so your body, your all organ will have available in a bloodstream very quickly. So it can be maximum benefit that you will get from GLP.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, and I hope everybody can just wrap their mind around this, because we have some folks who say, well, I already take probiotics and I'll stick with that. They don't fully understand all the value in this particular formula. Right. Yeah. So that's huge, Dr. Prasad. So thank you very much for sharing that. Let me ask you one more question, because this question came in from a client earlier. Something about slowing the emptying of the stomach. We know that one of the things that GLP-1 itself does is makes you feel satisfied more, right?
Yeah, and also they slow down this. That's not a good. That's a side effect. That's terrible. Mm-hmm. That you can empty your stomach is already food that you are there. It slow down the emptying of the gastric, and there are two problems with this slowing down. If the digested material does not move out from your gut, then during digestion, it is very well established, during digestions, a lot of mutagen and carcinogen are formed. And if they are not eliminated, they will be absorbed and can increase the risk of kind of diseases. And so, but another thing I want to make sure that people understand it, and all this data is from Ozempic, not from our data, because we don't
So you're saying the pharmaceuticals slow down the emptying of the stomach.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, here is nobody knows for sure. For example, Ozempic, take the example, Ozempic. Ozempic is a separate compound. It is called polypeptide with 31 amino acids, a compound. It is not a GLP-1, it is a compound.
Okay.
It acts as an agonist, means it will bind with the receptor for GLP-1 and increase the production. But the
Okay.
question is, how about GLP, the Ozempic molecule as by itself?
Right.
Is it toxic? All the toxicity about sitting has nothing to do with GLP. It could be all related to synthetic. It is synthetic compound.
Mm-hmm.
Our is all natural. So this is very important, but nobody has made this distinction
Right.
because they presume that is all GLP, but it may not be all GLP. It could be just the toxicity of the compound.
Gotcha.
The compound, you see what I mean? But nobody knows for sure.
Right.
Nobody tested it. They should have tested the GLP-1, the Ozempic as a polypeptides. Does it cause any toxicity?
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Nobody
Okay.
did.
Well, it's a known fact that things like Ozempic and Mounjaro, all pharmaceuticals that have some kind of side effects, and their side effects, it's a laundry list. I'm not even going to post it.
I know.
It. There's a whole bunch of them.
Plus cost.
Plus the cost. In fact, one client mentioned that they said they were excited that their copay for Ozempic was like $200.
Okay.
And that the copay, not the copay, but the cost for the GLP-1 boost that we're looking at on the screen here was almost half that.
Mhm.
So they saw, it was instant for them to realize that if they could get the same benefits, all the health benefits for a less cost
and less
and less toxicity.
Yeah.
You just can't lose. That's a win-win for anybody. So that's not difficult to have to put together. So that's huge, Dr. Prasad. So thank you very much.
It is huge. It is huge. But again, the science says that it should be perfect.
Mhm.
But I don't know until we tried at least, a couple of hundred people,
Well, we're going to try it. We're going to try it. We're going to try it. And there's a lot of folks. I believe there's a bunch of folks that are on here now, Dr. Prasad, who have already purchased in the pre-launch so that they want to know.
all these herbs that we have given them,
Mhm.
which act as a agonist for GLP and GIP as well, they have been all tested in humans for other reasons, and it's totally safe.
Totally safe. Totally safe.
Ayurvedic medicine, they have been tested. In Chinese medicine, they have been tested. In American medicine, they have been tested. They're all traced.
Okay.
All
Okay.
safe.
So, well, the one thing that you and Jeff and Dr. and Dave Namelka have mentioned, we're looking at 2 to 4 pounds per month in weight loss. Very similar, 15 to 20% body weight loss in about a year's time. So that's huge. And all we're talking about now is that will be additional benefits of the heart. So if obesity can improve, if weight issues can be managed better with just a simple combination of the GLP-1 boost, the core 4, even the basic bundle here. The basic bundle here, this one here that folks are looking at right now, that's just $110. That's just the micro daily and the probiotic boost.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to the rest of what Dr. Prasad has recommended, that's the one on the top there. That's the core 4. So that's everything all bundled together that Dr. Prasad mentioned. The only exception is the GLP-1 boost and the heart boost that's not mentioned there. So those two things are not shown on this screen, but that's okay. All you have to do is just get back with the person who invited you to this discussion, and they will help you build your own bundle. Basically, you start with the core 4, and then you can build your bundle on top of that. With that, so you have no problems there. The beautiful thing,
for people who can't afford, and suppose they're kind of low income people who can't afford it, at least they can take a GLP boost together
with the basic bundle,
peptide and probiotic. At least those 3 things is
gotcha.
important. And the reason is because if they are going to suppress the appetite. That's for sure. And so suppress the appetite, then you don't eat it, then for 1 week or 2 weeks doesn't make difference. But if it is for a long time, that one could develop a micronutrient deficiency because not you're eating all the micronutrient that your body needs it. And therefore, the supplementation becomes very critical of micro daily. And of course, probiotics is very important, I mentioned to you.
Okay. Okay. So that's three things as a very minimal.
Minimum.
If there's a budget issue.
That is the optimal and then is a minimum.
Right. Okay. So collagen peptide, the probiotic boost, and the GLP-1 boost. That would be someone who is looking for just the weight loss component of it.
Component of that, not heart disease, not anything, just weight loss.
Right. If they've got the heart issue, the core four that we're looking at right here.
Right.
The
Plus
heart boost,
yeah.
heart boost in addition, and of course the GLP-1 boost to address the obesity component. So this is an incredible opportunity for folks to really get to know and get access to something that could truly make a big difference. So that's why we say, folks, our recommendation is to take control of your health, take control of your heart health. Don't let heart issues dictate your life. What you've just heard today from Professor Prasad is not to be taken lightly. This is deep, life-changing information, and we've seen it over and over and over again, where folks have accepted his recommendations, worked with their doctors, made the adjustments, and they find themselves benefiting from it. I would like to just make sure that you guys understand something. Don't, when you can do for yourself, don't wait for a pill, potion, lotion, or anything else, powder, to have an impact on your life or to do for you what you could do for yourself. So if you can get moving, get yourself moving, change your relationship with your couch. Try to get yourself 7,000 steps in every single day. When you go shopping, don't go try to find the closest parking space. Park at the end of Walmart and get those steps in. Get those extra steps in wherever you can.
Yes.
So please do that. Try to get 7,000 steps in a day. So that will work in addition to adding the correct supplements to your diet. And please remember that these statements are not intended to be a substitute for a visit to your primary health care physician. Do not take any statements that anyone has made here as a substitute for a visit to your doctor. They've not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are purely anecdotal. That means that what happens to one person may or may not happen to you. So having said that, we are right at the point where we may be able to take just one quick question from someone before we completely wrap up. Dr. Prasad, can we do that? So let's just see if I can get a hand up here. See, why am I seeing absolutely nothing? I'm seeing nothing.
I got one.
Okay. Nardo has a question. Now this has to be a question along the subject matter. Okay. Go ahead, Nardo.
Thank you. I was trying to find out, because see, I'm dealing with prostate cancer. My sister invited me here, and I'm just trying to find out which one can I take to help me with this prostate cancer I'm dealing with. They removed my prostate, but they found out they didn't get it all. And so I'm trying to find out something all natural.
Okay.
Try to deal with all these different other medications for the high blood pressure.
And who's your sister?
My sister's on here too.
Okay. If your sister can
Sonia, that's my brother.
If your sister can do a 3-way call with me or Jeff, we'd be happy to give you some suggestions that Dr. Prasad has given for things like that. Okay. So Sonia will do that.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. And one last one here. Ed Howard, please go ahead. This is the 32nd one, Ed.
Thank you. Thank you, coming from La Paz, Bolivia. Excuse me. Actually, the collagen, could he explain a little in the body, please? Thank you.
Explain the role of the collagen in the body. What'd you say?
With the GLP.
With the GLP.
With the GLP.
Oh, collagen with respect to GLP. Because collagen, the GLP, when they are produced, they get destroyed in 1.5 minutes. And so you have to have a continuous, like we have in our formulation, different herbs will produce different rate of GLP production. So GLP can last longer in your body. But if, for example, Ozempic don't take orally. You have to take injection to for lengthy. But the question of Ed was asking was, and the reason they destroyed it because there is an enzyme called DPP4. They destroy GLP-1 immediately in 1.5 minutes. But the collagen has an inhibitor of DPP4 enzyme.
Okay.
And therefore, if you combine with the collagen, the lifespan of GLP-1 will last much, much longer than without it.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. Dr. Prasad, thank you very much, sir. We cannot express our appreciation enough for everything that you bring to us. The knowledge that you share with us is extensive, and we do not take it for granted, sir.